This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the DNP-CD Sports Podcast presented by Oddshark. I'm Chad Fisher alongside my co-host, Tony Farmer. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good today, man. We're starting to get a little bit of sunshine here in Austin. I think the cold weather's behind us. So.
We hope, man. I went golfing yesterday.
Yeah, man. I've had a couple pool days. So
shit.
We're making all our listeners up north a little bit jealous.
Yeah, man. I talked to my dad yesterday. He said it's like 18 degrees in Ohio. I was like, that's messed up. I'm good.
For real.
Hit the links yesterday, man. It was nice. It was windy as shit. When I teed off, it was like 72 degrees. By the time I got done, it was like 54 and like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those weird days where it got cooler, even though it was like 2-3 p.m.
Yeah, dude.
Cooler as it went along.
It's nice when you're hitting with the wind, though, man. I had like a 400-yard drive yesterday. I'm just like, just kind of do this shit.
Thanks for the golf invite, by the way, dickhead.
Yeah. That's an alone thing. That's just a me thing, you know. They tried to pair me up with someone yesterday. I was like, motherfucker.
Oh, you really went solo?
Yeah, I always play solo,
no
man.
Shit. Good for you,
like
man.
99. I have a couple friends that I play with every once in a while, but I prefer to go by myself. In fact, if you try to pair me with someone, I get pissed off. I was about to cuss out the pro shop yesterday because they tried to pair me with some dude.
That's funny.
That was walking too. I'm like, come on, man. I'm going to be smoking weed. I'm going to be doing all kinds of crazy shit out here, you know?
It's funny that you and I have this job, but we're also both introverts. I love eating alone. I need to live alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Golf alone.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of ironic.
When I was a kid, man, I used to see like people eating alone. I used to think it was really sad. Now I'm just jealous. Like, this motherfucker just eating alone. Look at that. Not having a conversation. Not hearing a bunch of bullshit, you know?
Just focus on his food. No distractions.
Yeah, reading some sports probably, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds great, man.
That's nice, for sure. Hey, we got a great show today,
Yeah, we do, man.
I'm really, really excited about this Kyle Dake interview. Olympic wrestler Kyle Dake, bronze medalist. We think he's going to be a gold medalist real soon. He's a badass. Can't wait to talk to him. Before we get to that, though, you want to tell folks about Oddshark, our lead sponsor? Yeah,
definitely, brother. You want to check out Oddshark. They are our go-to resource for all the betting segments that we do here on the show. Great thing about Oddshark is it's absolutely free. There's no signups, no memberships, anything like that. What you can do is you can compare lines from a bunch of different sites on their website. If you go to oddshark.com, that's ODDSSHARK.com, you get to make sure you're getting the best line, man. It's very important.
Yeah, it's cool because it's free. They've got great editorials on there, so you can read different people's opinions on different sports. And they got a whole bunch of different sports, not just the main ones that we talk about, but UFC, boxing, whole bunch of other stuff as well. Entertainment bets.
You bet on Jeopardy, man.
Yeah, it's cool. He's not joking. You really can.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. So definitely check out ODDSSHARK.com. So for our betting segment today, I want to talk NFL futures, Chad. It's not on anybody's mind, which is why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because now is a time where you can get some good value. And I will own this. It's a little riskier to be betting on NFL futures right now. Who's going to win the Super Bowl next year? Because there's so much to take place. Free agency, the draft, and especially this year with all these quarterbacks, who knows where Aaron Rodgers is going to be?
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable placing a bet on the Packers, not knowing if it's going to be Love or Rodgers? Probably not. But what if you can get ahead of the curve and place a bet, say, on the Broncos, and then Rodgers goes to the Broncos?
You're going to get some good value there.
Yeah. So you're kind of gambling on the gamble. You're gambling to try to get better odds so that this future bet looks better in the future. So why don't we start there with the Denver Broncos? I think Vegas is kind of already ahead of the curve on this one because they're actually at 18-1 on the Broncos.
Oh, wow.
How do you feel about that right now?
18-1, man, it doesn't sound like a great number. You know what I mean? If it was maybe in the 30s or something like that, that's something I might pull a trigger on in case he does go there.
Yeah.
You got to think that they're going to rectify that quarterback situation next year, though, because it's been inconsistent for many years. That's been one of the biggest downfalls. Teddy Bridgewater obviously isn't getting it done.
Sure.
There's old second round pick, Drew Lock out of Missouri. He's not getting it done either. So you got to think that one of those two guys is not going to be the starting quarterback next year. They might not even be on the team. But if they could get Aaron Rodgers, obviously that number is going to go way, way down.
Yeah, and well, how about we look at this, man? How about the Indianapolis Colts? Again, we're trying to find teams who we know are going to upgrade their quarterback situation.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just about Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You know, I know he's got legal stuff going on, but he could end up somewhere. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the move. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. Colts 25-1. I kind of like this.
That's not bad, man.
Knowing that they've got a solid defense, they've got a great offensive line. And if you put a quarterback in there that is better than Carson Wentz, this was already a cusp playoff team.
Yeah.
So now if you give them a top tier quarterback, I love the Colts here at 25-1.
Yeah, maybe look at the Colts there definitely is a great pick. Maybe look at them to win their division too,
Sure.
because you got to think that Tennessee, maybe is Derrick Henry finally starting to wear down a little bit. They've been riding him big time over the last few years, so he might start to wear down, might start to have more injuries, and I don't have much faith in Ryan Tannehill anyway. So
Sure.
the Colts might be a good bet there in the AFC.
Yeah, I like that a lot. How about Washington Commanders? It's weird saying
It's so
that.
weird. It sounds like a MLS soccer team or some shit.
This is the last one. 50-1 on this one. Again,
To
knowing
win the
they
Super
have,
Bowl?
yeah,
I
knowing
wouldn't
they've
touch
come
that.
out, you wouldn't touch that. I'd throw some pizza money on it because I love that defensive line. I could see them getting a top tier quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't trust Ron Rivera, man. I don't think he's a great
That's
coach.
fair.
I think he's like the Mike McCarthy. He's another version of Mike McCarthy, anyways. So yeah, I'm not too confident with him as your head coach.
So the camera wasn't on me, but I just had to do a double take.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
say, "What the
I
fuck?"
thought someone sent you some titty pics or
Because
something.
I'm literally going to make this bet right now during
Yeah.
the show because we got Steelers 50-1.
Oh yeah, they're gonna
That is a
upgrade that.
damn good defense.
Yeah.
Again, dude. Right now, I'm placing the bet right now. It's happening before that goes away.
Oh, jeez.
So Steelers 50-1.
With the
You like
Super
that
Bowl.
too?
I mean, not really.
You don't like the Steelers 50-1
I mean,
right now?
I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Obviously, they're going to upgrade it over Ben from last year. But
I
we'll
would be
see.
well. I agree with you in that I wouldn't trust Mason Rudolph or the guys they have in their roster.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they're going to upgrade. Just imagine for a second, Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers.
Yeah,
What do you think that line would go down to?
that's probably
8-1?
Yeah, I was going to say like 8 or 10-1.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm feeling good about
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
All right, there we go. That was a productive beginning of our show.
Yeah,
Chad.
there we go, man.
Slipped a
That's
little bet
awesome.
in. That was nice.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited about this interview with Kyle, though, man. This guy's a super interesting person. Can't wait to talk to him and find out what motivates him and everything, too.
Yeah, man, and he's a cool guy. When I realized that like a lot of our political beliefs align as well. So I'm looking forward to getting into it with him on some of that stuff as well.
Yeah,
So-
definitely, man. Let's get right to it then. Let's bring in Kyle Dake, bronze medalist, and going to be competing in the upcoming Olympics as well.
You said Kyle's name like you were calling someone's name at the DMV. Kyle? Do we have Kyle number 43?
Kyle Dake?
That's what they do at the
Yeah.
DMV for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and talk to Kyle. I can't wait.
Hey, everybody, we're proud to announce that the DNP-CD Sports Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com.
So I started using BetterHelp
Oh, what's
because
up?
every time, I turn on the TV, I see the Raiders, I see the Cowboys, and I'm reminded of this terrible gambling loss that I
Oh,
had.
dude.
So I started using BetterHelp. I've had a couple sessions with them, and it was seriously like super helpful, man. She like walked me through how like the loss that I was experiencing was actually somewhat similar psychologically, like to the loss of a loved one, like where you go through like those stages of grief and stuff.
Yeah.
It's obviously, doesn't compare in like the emotional sense of like, I'm not saying it's worse than that, but in
Yeah.
terms of the grieving process is really similar. So it's super helpful, man. I'm digging my BetterHelp experience.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I was just going to say.
You got something to say over there.
That's so funny, man. People are like, I've lost my dad and my cat died and my life's just not the same. He's like, I lost a contest. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
dude, I lost
know.
an opportunity at $6 million.
I know,
Let's not
dude.
make light of it.
I know, but like what I'm saying though is like you had to have gone into this thinking like, dude, there's like a 1 in a 7 billion chance I'm gonna win this.
1 in 4,080 chance.
But you still have to get all the games right. So that's like even more. It's not just you against other people. It's about like,
Yeah.
so every week it's that at least. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's really like, well, BetterHelp. Just if you're going through a loss like Tony, like a uncontrollable, devastating loss like Tony has. You know what I mean?
Chad would not make a good psychologist, making light of other people's losses.
This is why you got to go to BetterHelp, dude.
I'm struggling with something right now. Chad's just like, that's not a big deal. You need to get over it.
I've been through worse. That's what my slogan would be. You know what I'm saying? If, like I was a therapist or something, and I was like just trying to get like people out of play.
Worst therapist ever.
Hey, I've been through worse. It could be worse. Okay. But seriously, this is why you don't want to talk to me. This is why you got to go to BetterHelp and get some professional licensed therapy. This isn't self-help. It's not like a crisis line or anything like that. It's professional therapy done securely online. And if you go to betterhelp.com/DNP, you're going to get 10% off your first month of therapy, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. And you can do video chats with them. You can do phone chats. You can text them. You can text them 24 hours with you if you want, and they're going to respond pretty quickly, which is awesome.
Yeah. So make sure you go to betterhelp.com/DNP. You're going to get 10% off your first month.
Our next guest is the reigning world champion wrestler at 163 pounds. He also won back-to-back world titles in 2018 and 2019. He represented the USA at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo and captured a bronze medal there. Recently, he's gotten involved in some important activism work involving medical freedom. We're excited to talk to him about as well. Please welcome to the show a true badass, Kyle Dake. Kyle, how are you today, man?
I'm good. Been busy, but enjoying life, still training.
That's the way to do it.
That's awesome, brother. We got so many questions for you, man. I spent a lot of time reading about your career, and I got to tell you, man, you're truly like a straight up badass. I think someday, I was gonna say, man, someday we should go out drinking together and pick some fights with some guys that are dressed goofy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you got a birthday coming up this month. If you ever want to come down to Austin and go around picking fights with some goofballs, we can do that, man. Let's do it.
I don't drink. I got to stay away from that stuff, but I will definitely, definitely laugh at the scene of you picking on some.
Chad just wants a bodyguard. He just wants a bodyguard. That's all.
If it gets too weird, I'll help you out. But I want to see you get after these goofballs. That's what I want.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, definitely, man. That's easy.
Teach a man to fish. I think you need a little training.
Yeah. I was gonna say, meet up beforehand. Show me like a full Nelson and everything like that. I go out and get some unsuspecting bartenders and a couple full Nelsons. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. I'm down.
Yeah, let's do it, brother.
Kyle, on a serious note, I'm curious, man, did you specialize in wrestling at a young age, and did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, so my grandfather was a wrestling coach. My father was a wrestling coach. My father was an All-American in NCAA wrestling, and it was kind of just like a family thing. My brother wrestled. He wrestled at Cornell with me. He's a few years behind me. But so I grew up wrestling. I traveled everywhere. It was kind of like our family mini vacations. We would get in the car at like 4 a.m. and drive 3 hours so that we're there for weigh-ins on time. And, so it's always been kind of in my blood. My dad was he coached at Cornell for a couple of years. He coached a national championship team at Ithaca College. And I had, my mom was an All-American gymnast as well. So I had some pretty good genes, from the get-go, and then a really good environment as well. But yeah, it's been a lifelong journey and a lot of hard work too.
I want you to put on your salesman hat for me and sell the sport of wrestling to maybe a parent out there who's deciding what sport their kid's going to go into, or maybe even some kids that are more familiar with baseball, football, etc.
One thing that wrestling really teaches you is how tough you are mentally. And physically, you can get by a lot of the times, and it is hard, but it puts you in a position to where you have to fight for yourself rather than leaning on your teammates. And a lot of times, with team sports, you can kind of squeak by and you'll have the cream rise to the top, and those will be your leaders. But with wrestling, you got to go out there and represent yourself every time that whistle blows. So one thing that I always talk to young parents about is, just the character development that you'll get from a sport like wrestling. And they, most of the time, is like, I think it's too hard. I'm worried he's going to get injured. And a lot of it just comes from knowing where your body is in space. And the more you do that, the more confidence you get, the more successful you can be in other aspects of your life. And, whether it be on the soccer field or playing football or, even basketball, just having that tough mental edge because you had to do it yourself first, makes it a lot easier for other team sports or, anything in life.
Yeah, there's no plays off in wrestling. It's like, you can't just go hide in the corner and take a possession off. In wrestling, you do that, you're going to get beat, right?
Yeah, it's like I can't call coach like, hey, I stubbed my toe. I need a couple plays off, and this is that. You have to kind of got to suck it up and get out there. And I feel like a lot of the wrestlers that I know, even if they wrestle in high school or middle school or Pee Wee, they're like, man, I wish I would have stuck with it. I wish I would have stuck with it to the next level, because they realize once you're done, you can't really go back to it. It's not like you can't go play pickup wrestling at a gym.
People are gonna look at you weird if you ask them that. Hey man, hey, you want to do a little bit of wrestling? They're gonna be like, hey man, we don't do that shit here. You have to go down to the west side of town after 9 p.m. or something.
Yeah, so it's just it's a little bit different. And we talk to coaches from all sports: soccer, basketball, football, rugby, lacrosse. It's all like, hey, we want wrestlers. We want guys to fulfill that role. Now, there is some. You get in really good shape. One, you use muscles that you never thought you had. and you get incredible body awareness, balance, and it's not really like any other sport. It's a lot to absorb and deal with all at once. So I feel like it's a really good foundational sport. So if you are trying to decide, if I'm trying to decide whether I want to play baseball or football, well, I'm glad I wrestled because it gives me that foundation to be successful in those other sports as well.
Good point.
That's really interesting. When you win your first world championship, you were straight up flawless throughout the tournament, winning by a combined score of 37-0. After you did that, did you say to yourself, like, man, this is easy as hell. I'm about to be the best wrestler that's ever lived? Or was you thinking to yourself, like, hey, there's still things I can work on, things I can get better at?
Yeah, I pretty much picked apart all my performances while I was there. Basically after the match happened, I'd go back and talk with coaches and be like, hey, this is where I think I made a mistake. This is where I think I can improve. What do you think? And, it's kind of more of a dialogue at that point. Just because there's different vantage points. So it's, I feel and see things out there that the coach doesn't see, and the coach sees and feels, sees things that I won't see, just from his different perspective. So having to navigate that and really piece those things together is really important. And then we watch video together, and it's another vantage point. So now we have a bunch of different data points to go off of and assess. So, after I wrestled, and won, that first time, it was kind of like, all right, like, really good job. Like, this, it wasn't a monkey on my back, but it was like, I knew I could do it for such a long time to finally have the opportunity. It was my first chance to go, to be able to, do it and improve myself to be, what I thought was the best in the world. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of trying to get better and everything like that, you won the bronze medal this past Olympics, but I know you won a gold. What have you done since then, whether it's training wise, your mentality, your style, or whatever it is, to improve and make sure you win gold next time?
It's just making sure I account for as many variables as possible. There's some things that I do that are different than a lot of other people. And with my cross training specifically, that I need to make sure I'm dialed in all the time. And I usually am always dialed in. And, I made one calculation error, and it happened 2 months prior to the Olympic Games, but it didn't affect me right away. It was kind of like a slow burn. And then a week before, I was dealing with some injury, and I couldn't figure out why. And then it was like 3 days before that I figured out the cause of it, but I needed to get the information down and really be able to go compete. And so, our whole team of doctors was there trying to figure out, everything on the sun to try to do. And it wasn't until after I lost my match that we finally found the thing I needed. And it was a tough pill to swallow, but I was just really thankful that I had the opportunity to compete, because in wrestling, if you lose, your guy has to make the finals if you want to be able to wrestle for a bronze. So fortunately, the guy that beat me made it to the finals. He ended up taking a silver. And then I got a chance to wrestle for the bronze and wrestled a 2-time world champion for bronze, and ended up coming out victorious.
We mentioned that you're the reigning world champ. I want to take you back to that match. I believe it was in October. I saw you were up 1-0, and then you found yourself down 2-1 before you really kind of went on a rampage at the end and started stacking up a couple points. Can you talk to me about that moment that you were down 2-1? Because you were able to just, from an observer, you were able to just keep your composure, stay locked in, and get the job done, when I think it could have been easy to panic in that situation as well.
A lot of times when I wrestle, I score in bunches. So, sometimes it'll be high amplitude throws where I'm chucking the guy over my head, or sometimes it'll be, I get a takedown and get a chance on top and get a couple gut wrenches and expose their back and score points. So I wasn't really worried. I knew that those were going to come, and 3 minutes is a long time, to be sprinting. Like, if you tried to sprint for 3 minutes, yeah, it would be really
I
hard.
couldn't do it for 30 seconds, man. I'm honest. I got out of breath coming up the elevator today. I didn't do shit.
So when we train in like 30-second intervals. So you got 6 30-second intervals to go score a takedown. And most of the time it's like, okay, I need to sprint here and, take a little rest here. So it's like, I'm going, I'm stopping, I'm going, I'm stopping, I'm going, finally score. Okay, good. And those are, then you just have to win the position battles and be focused and not, and really the biggest thing for me is making sure I don't lose focus. I keep my feet moving, keep my hands moving. And if I do that, then I feel like I'm the best in the world, regardless of how my body's feeling. I just got to be able to perform and move like that. So just having that confidence, being there before, having gone through all the training, having done everything, I feel like that had gave me a big advantage. Even if I was down 2-1, to come back, and I think the score ended up being 7-3 or something like that, 7-4. It was good.
Absolutely. It was impressive to watch for sure. There's been several Olympic medalists, wrestlers who have gone on to MMA fighting, UFC, stuff like that. Mark Schultz in the 80s and 90s, and more recently, Henry Cejudo. Have you ever considered this as an option one day? Obviously, you're busy now with the Olympics and training and stuff, but in the future, has that thought crossed your mind?
Oh, yeah. I've definitely thought about it. I mean, all those guys I know, like Kamaru Usman, I trained with him 7-8 years ago. Henry Cejudo, I've trained with him. Daniel Cormier, I've trained next to him. Like, I know these guys, and they're having a ton of success in fighting. Now, that doesn't mean I would have a ton of success, but I have the foundation to be very successful in MMA. And, it's a completely different sport. So it does take a lot of time in order to get to where you want to be, and just having to make sure that, just basic stuff with jiu-jitsu, so you don't get caught up and then all of a sudden, you're in a heel lock, or you just having to get choked out because you didn't know what's going on. And obviously you got to be able to box pretty well and make sure that you don't get your face smashed too much. But, so right now, I feel like right now my focus is on wrestling, and, maybe after 2024, things change. But as of right now, I'm really, really concentrated on wrestling and trying to continue to win world titles and hopefully go get that Olympic gold in Paris 2024.
We're a betting show, so we talk about probabilities a lot. I'm hearing you say that there's maybe somewhat of an interest down the road. You're focused on wrestling right now. What would a percentage probability be that you will take that path? Is it more than 50%, or is it just sort of somewhere in the back of my mind? How likely is it?
It's not more than 50%.
Okay.
It's less than that. Mostly because I'm 31. I'll be 31 this month. And I got 2 kids, another one on the way, and it's hard. It's a hard lifestyle to be a fighter. It's a lot of big time commitment. You got to put in the work, and not that I'm afraid to put in the work. It's just that there's other things that I could be doing. But I never want to close a door. I always want to leave my options open, because you never know what the world's going to look like. If in 2019 you were to tell me where we are today, I'd laugh at your face.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But so it's just like there's so many things that can change the world, and you kind of got to be adaptable to everything. And as things come to you, you get stronger, and you just keep chugging away.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Kyle, how do you prepare mentally for a big tournament or a big match? Are you blasting some Shania Twain? Are you listening to some Taylor Swift? What do you got going on? Some death metal? What do you got going on in the old headphones there?
So I don't really listen to music.
Okay.
I kind of sing to myself.
Oh, wow. What's up?
I'm not very good.
What are you singing to yourself?
I don't like to perform. Mostly like Moana.
Oh, okay.
And little Disney movies.
Dude, that's so awesome, man.
I love it.
Just like, it's actually kind of funny because I'm just like, I'll be in wrestling practice because, I bring my girls to wrestling practice, we're on our way in. My oldest is like, can we listen to kid music is what she calls it. Yeah. And, so I'm like, all right, let's listen to it. So pretty much everything I listen to is now kid music or a podcast. And, I pretty much know every single word to Moana. That's all.
That's got to give you like a little mental edge over your opponent too. You're like coming into the ring and into the circle, and you're over there singing some Moana. He's probably like, "This guy's crazy as shit, man. I ain't messing with this guy."
Like, what is he doing? What is this guy doing? No, but I listen to whatever old school stuff. All I Do Is Win was kind of the song that I used to run out to.
Yeah.
But I've been listening to this guy, Jimmy Levy is his name. And then he usually works with a guy named High Res. They have some good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
It's more rap. I was never really into rap, hip hop as much. If the guys had it on in the room, like I was never in charge of the aux cord just because I don't listen to music that much.
Yeah.
Whatever they had, I listen to and I'll vibe to. And
they're like, we're not giving the aux cord to Kyle. He's gonna put on the Frozen soundtrack or some shit.
Exactly. Or I'll put on like animal sounds or like weird things. A lot of times, we'll play, if I get someone's like, hey, Dake, put some music on, and it'll be, the same song on repeat, and,
Nice.
and I did that to my daughter, and I thought I was going to break her, but she broke me.
Oh,
and it was just like, it's like I forget who's the artist, but it's called Pump It Up. Don't you know, pump it up. Something like that. And it's just like over and over, and the beat never drops.
Oh, damn. That's
so
annoying.
It's just like constantly like that. And it'll get to you. And it was a long road trip. We were going down to Virginia Beach for something, and she wanted to play it. We played it for 3 straight hours. And I was like, all right, this is done.
Never again. Never again.
That's awesome.
She won.
Kyle, there's been a lot in the news about Olympic athletes, currently Winter Olympic athletes, complaining about the conditions in the Olympic Village, food, shelter, etc. I'm just curious your reaction when you see those stories in the news, having gone through it. Obviously a different year, different setting, totally different circumstances, but I'm just curious what your reaction to those stories is. Yeah,
we were wrestling in particular when we were in Tokyo. We had a unique situation. We stayed in the Olympic Village. We stayed at a hotel right next to the venue. And then we didn't go to opening ceremonies. Didn't go to closing ceremonies. We didn't do any of that stuff. So we were like 5 hours away, on the side of a mountain in a resort it was awesome to be there. The unfortunate part was that they gave us what we call yard time. So, it was like we were in jail. We had an hour of time to go outside, which was pretty cool, but not nearly enough because you were stuffed in. But we were all making sacrifices to be there because we thought the Olympics were going to be done. So, knowing that the Olympics is a big deal, but the state of the world, the policies that have been put in place have really made it difficult. And I knew it was going to be even worse in China because just of the political sphere over there relative to where we're at with where we were at in Japan. So when you hear athletes saying, I feel like I'm getting poisoned with bad food, I have pictures of food that my doctors are getting versus what I'm getting, the sleeping arrangements, all that stuff. Like, these are world-class athletes who have everything so dialed in for the most part, dialed in.
Good point.
That when they get any sort of changes, it makes a big difference. So like, people drink tap water over in Spain and France and, everywhere, and Japan. It's like, we have really clean drinking water. And we're like, yeah, you do. But at the same time, the stuff in there is different than what we have at home. So even when I'm on the road, like if I go to, if I'm going to Texas or if I go to, Colorado Springs or wherever, I still get bottled water because I get, I know that it's, whether it be reverse osmosis or spring water or whatever, I know what I'm getting. And if it's tap water, I don't always know what's in there. So I'm really meticulous about what goes in my body. Even down to your water, when we eat, I make sure I only eat things that are cooked. When we were in Japan, because I don't know what they wash their lettuce in, their peppers in. I don't know any of that stuff.
Right.
So I just make sure that every time that I eat something, it's something that's cooked, and I know exactly what's on it.
That's smart. Yeah, that's something that you don't think about. Like you said, these athletes are dialed in, and they're counting calories. They need to have X amount of fruits and vegetables a day and everything. And when that gets messed up and they're eating prison food, you know what I mean? It's a big difference, So
yes.
They slide it under your door. They bang on the door.
Yeah.
The windows.
With the one sheet they give you and everything. Like, hope you're warm in there,
Yeah. They quarantine you for 18 days. They,
wow.
do that and then expect you to go perform.
That's crazy.
At the highest level.
Wow. That's wild.
I mean, it's good. The cool part, the cool part is that if somebody can go through that, endure that, and then still come out on top, it's like, wow, that is incredibly impressive. And that's a really cool story to get behind. But the other people that fell through the cracks, maybe they were on the cusp of a medal, maybe they're on the cusp of a gold medal, and they didn't get to their goal because they were eating crappier food. They were stuck in quarantine for 18 days, and they're testing these guys twice a day.
Wow.
And
they're in quarantine
for something. They're for something that they're in a closed loop, and everyone is vaccinated against this thing. So it's like, well, why are you guys making such a big deal out of testing if you required everyone to get vaccinated. Like they wouldn't let anybody come in who wasn't vaccinated. And if they did, they had to go a 21-day quarantine, which again, what we're seeing now in their quarantine, it's kind of, I don't know that I want to be there for 21 days in that type of environment.
Right.
Like, how do you get ready for the biggest event of your entire life and being stuck in a tiny room, basically what you said, basically like prison.
Yeah.
So it's a really, and we've talked to a lot of the winter athletes as well, and just to see their perspective, see where their head's at. And a lot of them are just like, I had to do it because I wanted to go. I wanted to compete. And I trained my whole life for this. And I didn't want it. I didn't want to get it. I didn't want to get the vaccine, but I had to, because I'm not going to throw that away because of this, because of this medical treatment. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to go out and compete. And I'm going to take the risk. And that's just, it's hard because I see where they're at. I know exactly how they're feeling, and they want to just go out and compete. And that's all we want to do. All of us want to compete on a level playing field. We don't want different situations for different people. We want, okay, we're going to go out, we're stepping on the mat, or, we're going to our competition. We know that we did everything we could possibly do to get there perfectly and to perform at the best of our ability.
All right. That was an awesome interview with Kyle. That was everything I wanted it to be and more. I mean, so much fun talking to him about his experience in the Olympics, talking about that world championship match. And then again, a lot of the really cool activism that he's doing for the folks that are watching this, not on YouTube. Yeah, man. We originally didn't have that much time scheduled for him. And then the interview went long because he's such an interesting guy. He's so well-spoken and he's so intelligent about so many different subjects. It's great to get some perspective. I'm not a huge wrestling guy. I don't know too much about it. In fact, I got to give a shout out to my brother, Derek, who helped me out with that interview, tried to give me some tidbits and make sure I'm asking the right questions and don't sound like a complete jackass on here. But shout out to my brother for hooking me up with that. But yeah, so many interesting things. It's so great to talk to someone in a sport that you're not super interested in, because you learn so much about that sport, and you learn like how these guys train, all these things, the things they're going through their minds and everything like that. So it's awesome to talk to that guy and get some perspective about wrestling. Yeah, for sure. And I love the stuff that he's doing, right now with the activism, with his website. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, we had to cut a portion of that interview out. You can find it on all of our other sources, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those. So check out the extended version of the interview there. But again, that was really fascinating to hear kind of how he got involved in this. You could tell he's passionate as hell about it, and he really wants to make a difference in the world, which is awesome. That was awesome about when you asked him about possibly going to MMA once his wrestling career is over. That was something I never even thought to ask him, and he said that, it's a possibility. He wasn't saying it was a strong possibility, but it's definitely something he's thought about himself. Yeah, a lot of those guys have had a lot of success, man. That's what's kind of cool. I'm not a big UFC or MMA guy, but it's cool seeing these guys with different styles and backgrounds, and a lot of wrestlers have had success. It's also refreshing too, man, because a lot of people just naturally assume that athletes are just like dumb jocks and they don't know anything and outside of their sport and their profession. But as we see with all the guests that we've had on this show, coaches, players, former players, now an Olympic wrestler, these guys are very intelligent, man, and there's things that they're passionate about outside of sports as well. Yeah, we don't bring no dummies on this show. That's for sure. That's for sure. But just the hosts. Just us. I mean, obviously. That's it, man. Before we let folks go, let's tell them how to follow the show, all that shit. Definitely give us a thumbs up if you're watching this on YouTube. We love comments as well. Twitter is our most active social media source. Chad does a great job with that, at DNP-CD Show, at DNP-CD Sports on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Go to hotpiemedia.com and check out our newsletter as well. Yeah, give us a follow. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Like you said, on Twitter, we're at DNP-CD Show. Everything else, we're at DNP-CD Sports. Give us a follow. Please tell your friends about the show. Rate the show. Give us a review. Thumbs up. All that good stuff, right? All that, absolutely. And we'll be back next week with another great episode. Yeah, before we let you go, we just want to tell you one more time about OddsShark. They're your go-to resource for all your betting information. This is what we use on the show for all of our betting segments. You can check it out if you're watching the video. You can see it right here on our screen. It's a great resource, man. It's a great tool. You definitely don't want to go place a bet without going to OddsShark. That would be foolish because this is free. There's no membership. There's no sign up, anything like that. They don't want your firstborn or a blood sample or anything like that, man. You just got to go to the website. You check out all this information, and it's absolutely free. You're going to find out
where you should be placing this bet, because maybe the place that you go to all the time it doesn't give you the best number, the best odds, and that's important, man. If you're talking about 1 or 2 points, that could be the difference between winning and losing a bet.
Yeah, and this is whether you're a novice bettor or whether you're a seasoned bettor. OddsShark is a great resource for you. ODDSSHARK.com.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for listening. Please tell your friends about the show. We'll see you guys next week. For Tony, I am Chad. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.